the IELTS podcast. Learn from tutors and ex-examiners who are masters of IELTS preparation. Your host, Ben Worthington.
IELTS Writing Task 2. Answers to recent IELTS Writing Task 2 questions seen by our students and around the web. And these are the newest questions. As I just said, some of our students take the exam and tell us the questions, which is quite useful for you, because right now we are going to go through a few of these questions and you're going to discover a blueprint how to structure your essays for clarity. We're going to look at the famous and lovely and well-loved discussing both views and give your opinion. We're going to look at vocabulary, topic-specific vocabulary for each question. We're going to look at how you can balance your perspective, and also I'll probably highlight some common errors that could be made with these questions. Right, let's jump into it. We've got a lot to cover today and I want to move fast. If this is your first time listening to IELTS podcast, then you're probably wondering, who is this handsome fella I am listening to? Probably not, but just a side note, my dad always said I have a face for radio, which is probably why I went into podcasting. But anyway, my name is Ben Worthington and I've been teaching IELTS now for well over 10 years. I am from the UK. I'm from the northern side, the northern end. But it's been like 20 years since I've lived in the UK. I've been teaching English and I specialized in IELTS because I love getting results for students. And every now and again, I occasionally do private classes just to test new theories, new strategies, and also just to keep my skills intact because, use it or lose it, as we say. So let's jump into it. The first question. Some people think the government should provide free housing while others believe it is not the government's responsibility. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Right then. This is relatively straightforward. The key to this question is following the instruction. A wise old ex-IELTS examiner once said to me, he said, Ben, the writing exam is a reading exam and the speaking exam is a listening exam. What does this mean? Well, it means that you have to have sharp skills for reading and sharp skills for listening to exceed in both of the writing and speaking exam. And the key here, the reason I'm mentioning this now is because in this question we have discuss both views and give your opinion. Now, if we are producing a four paragraph essay, then we've got the introduction and the conclusion already taken care of. Now we've got two body paragraphs left. And in the question, as I just said, discuss both views and give your opinion. So therefore, we need a view assigned to each body paragraph, and that is exactly what we're going to do. And this is what is going to help us score maximum points and get us past that band 6.5 and get us onto the road to band 7, 8, or 9, which is not difficult. You probably heard the recent interview with Wen, who's now in Canada. She got her writing up from 5.5 to 7.5 by doing private classes with me and using our materials and our tools as well. So let's go through the essay plan here. Introduction. We're going to introduce the topic and mention our opinions vary on whether the government should provide free housing. Now, there are a few steps before this. These are the steps we cover in our writing course, namely the CTRT method, which basically enables you, it's like a tool that helps you split up the question and plan your answer. But we've already planned our answer. We went through the CTRT before. So the introduction, we're going to introduce the topic and we're going to mention that our opinions vary on whether the government should provide free housing. So body paragraph number 1, we will discuss the view supporting the government provision of free housing. Now, I'm going to use slightly more advanced vocabulary in this, so grab a pen, and if there's any vocabulary that you're not getting, then you can easily pause, go back, write it down, and then research it, and write down the whole sentence, because now you've got the new vocabulary term in its natural home, in context, which is essential for vocabulary acquisition. So the position we've got for body paragraph number 1 is we support the government provision of free housing. Why? This is incredibly important. We always have to ask ourselves why and then develop it. So in this body paragraph, we will say there's a social responsibility, we can reduce homelessness, and we can ensure basic human rights. Those are the 3 points I'm going to cover. These were drawn out from following the CTRT template. The next step would be to develop one of those, or maybe even 2 of those. And as you know, if you're on the Band 9 framework course, we give you the exact structures, including the grammatical sentences and the grammatical structures you need in order to improve your essay. But right now, these are 3 ideas you can put in your body paragraph. Social responsibility, reducing homelessness, and ensuring basic human rights. If we have time, we can develop these ideas further for another question. But let's move on. Body paragraph 2. We're going to discuss the opposing view. In this one, we're going to again have 3 ideas. We're going to produce quite a balanced essay. We're going to have 3 ideas, and again, we would develop probably the second or third viewpoint using an example, using a profession, using a hypothetical argument. All of those are possible and encouraged. And as I said before, in the Band 9 Frameworks course, which you get an invitation to join when you use our online essay checker as a premium user, you can just drop your arguments in, use the structures, and it will develop that argument almost automatically. So anyway, what are the opposing views? What is the other side of the view? Well, if we provided government housing, if the government provided housing, there would be an increased financial burden on the government. Financial burden, what does that mean? It basically means it's more expensive for the government. Possible quality compromise. Okay, this is an excellent way to develop the idea. It's a financial burden on the government. Why? Because it's expensive. This could lead to a possible compromise in quality. Because it's expensive, the government might be tempted to produce cheap housing. And the final reason is why we are not keen on this idea is because it encourages dependency. This is an interesting one, actually. And the argument here is that if citizens of a country believe the government is going to provide housing for them for free, then what incentive do they have to work? Now, this brings us on to an important point in the IELTS exam. Now, when you're doing this exam, your goal is to get Band 7, 8 or 9 in most cases. That's going to be your goal. It's not your goal to show the examiner that you disagree violently, you strongly disagree with this because it's, you lived in government housing all your life with your family and it was a godsend. No, all we want to do is pass the exam. So I've always said to my students, just put your personal opinions aside. If you notice yourself getting emotional about this, put it aside and just focus on writing what the examiner wants, which is something that is communicated clearly. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to disagree with it. It doesn't matter. Just make sure that it is clearly expressed. And a simple argument is far easier to explain than one that is overly intelligent, than one that is overly emotional. So put your emotions aside, and even put your knowledge about the matter aside. It doesn't really matter if you think encouraging dependency is a good thing, because you're just going to get yourself all mixed up. This is a language exam. What is language? Communication. So we're going to go for clarity. Now, let me just explain the encouraging dependency. So citizens wouldn't work. Could produce a lazy society, just dependent on those who are working and producing tax dollars or pounds or whatever. But just be careful. When you are writing this, just make sure you're writing it like a Scandinavian. A Scandinavian are famous for not having emotions. So just write it like cold and clinical, and that's it. It's fine. Do not get emotionally involved. Conclusion. So you present your personal opinion. Okay, again, avoid getting emotional, and you just summarize the key arguments. That's it. Now, if you are struggling for these sentence structures for any of these, then you probably want to have a look at the Band 9 Frameworks course that's available to the students using the online essay checker when they've upgraded to premium. Next point, topic-specific vocabulary for this topic, for this question. These are, again, very useful. Affordable housing, homelessness, social welfare, taxpayers' money, infrastructure, dependency, urban planning, subsidization, subsidized, living standards, and public funds. Now, there's a beautiful one in there, which is subsidize. And why am I saying this is beautiful? Well, if we know the formulas, if we know the roots and the patterns of the English language, from the root subsidize or subsidy, we can get the verb, we can get the noun, we can get the adjective, and literally within a couple of seconds, we've expanded our vocabulary. And it's probably a very useful, it's not only a useful term for this essay, but if you do it with that word, you're probably going to find that the same formulas can be transferred to other words, and literally, like overnight, your vocabulary's increased threefold, because now you know how to get the root of the word, and how to get the adjective, how to get the noun, and how to get the verb. And wow, your essay has just increased its score, its lexical resource score. Moving on. Next question. Some people believe the purpose of education is to prepare individuals to be beneficial to society. Others say the purpose of education is to achieve personal ambitions. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Fortunately, we now know how to plan this essay. Perhaps pause the tutorial and maybe even just write an essay plan how you would go about this. Again, let's use the 4-body paragraph model. It makes life easier, and it's perfect for this essay question. As I said, we've got the introduction, the conclusion, we've got 2 body paragraphs. The question states, discuss both views, 2 views. So we're going to have body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2, each with an opinion assigned or a viewpoint assigned. Introduction. Introduce both differing views on the purpose of education. Then body paragraph number 1, discuss the view that education's purpose is to benefit society. We could even rephrase this to is societal benefit. And that exactly underlines what I said before about learning the formula. We got society, then we've got societal, which is the adjective. And it's incredibly useful because now we can have more sentence structures in our essay, and this helps us with the grammatical range and accuracy, and obviously it's going to help us with our lexical resource score also. Now, what are the reasons why we believe the purpose of education is to benefit society? Number one, it produces responsible citizens. We can fill job markets, and we can ensure societal progress. Just as a side note, there's a joke in England that most of the people who study philosophy at university level end up working in McDonald's, you know? Although, I remember as well, there's this famous story of a guy with a PhD and 2 degrees, and he was cleaning toilets, you know? So anyway, just going off topic. Let's stick on topic. Producing responsible citizens, filling job markets, and ensuring societal progress. Again, we're going to ask ourselves why, and then we're going to develop the question, develop our bullet points, our ideas, with examples, maybe hypothetical arguments. If you struggle with this development, if you struggle with ideas, then the CTRT template, as I mentioned before, gives you a system to follow to just break it down. And if you struggle with putting those ideas into an essay, then the Band 9 framework would definitely speed up your progress there. Body paragraph 2. Discuss the view of personal ambition fulfillment. Wow, that's a great term. What does that mean? Well, to achieve your personal ambitions. Going back to the question, this is another point you need to remember. When you're planning your essay, when you see the question, you plan it. You can brainstorm as well. You can generate ideas, select the best ideas, and drop them into the framework. But when you are doing this, you need to go backwards and forwards to the initial question and make sure twice, 3 times, 4 times that your ideas correlate, that your ideas respond to the actual question. Because if you get it wrong at the idea generation point, you're going to go on to create an essay based on the wrong ideas. So it could be the most beautifully written IELTS essay the examiners have ever seen, but it's off top. But if it is off topic, you're not going to get further than a Band 6. It's just not going to happen. So double, triple, quadruple check that your ideas are on topic before you start writing your essay. Let's just develop the ideas for the purpose of education, achieving personal ambitions. Personal growth and development, achieving personal growth goals and dreams, and building individual character and skills. This is quite a tricky one. Okay, so I think I'm going to share an example with you here. I'll develop one point because I think this one is quite confusing. So let's just develop the last point. Building individual character. No, I'm going to develop the second one. I'm sorry. Let's develop the first one. Personal growth and development. So a basic sentence. The purpose of education is to enable a citizen to fulfill their personal growth and development. This would lead to happier, healthier society and possibly reduce the amount of stress and mental illnesses present in modern societies today. For example, and then we can give an example about it. Okay, so the idea is that if somebody wants to pursue a degree in juggling or a degree in geography or a degree in philosophy, which could be argued as not very valuable and not very practical for society unless they wanted to become a philosophy teacher or a geography teacher or something else, but it's not so valuable compared to other skills such as coding, such as psychology or accountancy, or something that you could go into work immediately after having studied it for 4 years. So there we go. Conclusion. You state your personal opinion. Which do you think is better? We have a society with practical skills, engineers, mechanics and plumbers, whatever, or we have a society full of artists and songwriters who cannot build bridges but can produce beautiful songs, for example. Okay, I'm just being a bit sarcastic here just to get my point across, but you would, in this point, you would choose which one you agree with. I think an easy way out of this, and it also helps you avoid getting emotionally involved, an easy way out would be a balance. So society both needs civil engineers to build bridges and songwriters to make songs, and the individual should choose, and this is what society has done for the last 100 years, and it's been working reasonably well. Okay, there we go. Maybe even just clarify which society you're talking about. Okay, and this has worked for the German society or the British society or whichever for well over 200-300 years. Okay, topic specific vocabulary: curriculum, pedagogy, lifelong learning, skill set, that's a great one, vocational training, empowerment, civic responsibility, self-actualization, career trajectory, holistic development. You probably want to check those online if you're not clear. Check them online, learn them in context, try and use them in your next essay. As I said right at the beginning, use it or lose it. Basically meaning, like, if you're not using it, you're probably going to be losing it. Question 3. This is the final one for today. And this one is, again, it's a slightly different structure. Question: it has been suggested that all young adults should be required to undertake a period of unpaid work helping people in the community. Would the drawbacks of such a requirement be greater than the benefits to the community and the individual young adults? This is tricky because there's a lot to unpack. And by unpack, I mean, you got to read it once or twice, especially with these longer questions, because you want to be absolutely certain that you've understood the question before you generate your ideas. And then, as I said before, when you've generated your ideas, you want to be absolutely certain that they correspond back to the question that you're on topic. Once you're confident about this, then you can start writing your essay. And as I said before, our CTRT template really accelerates the progress and just simplifies it, and it works beautifully with the Band 9 frameworks. And then together with the premium essay correction, we're just finding that a lot of students are succeeding with this route. Let's go. So, introduction. Introduce the proposal of mandatory unpaid work for young adults. Body paragraph 1 will discuss the benefits. What are the benefits of this? Well, we build community spirit, we gain life experiences, and we enhance personal skills and character. So the interesting thing about these ideas for this essay is that we have got ideas that correspond to two interesting parts of the question. We've got to talk about the benefits for the community and for the individual. And I could imagine a lot of students just writing an essay about the benefits for community or the benefits for the individual. But if we follow these ideas, building community spirit, gaining life experiences, enhancing personal skills and character, we've covered the benefits of mandatory unpaid work for young adults, both for the individual and for society. Very important, very important. Body paragraph number 2. What are the drawbacks of mandatory unpaid work for young adults? There are economic implications. How does the kid eat? How does the kid survive when he is doing unpaid work all week? It's open to exploitation. This could easily be abused. It could hinder personal career plans. Excellent. So there's quite a few points there that we could easily develop. Because the first point could be interpreted as economic implications for the individual or economic implications for the society or the community. I would push the first point to talk about the community rather than the individual not having time not having funds or not having time to work to buy food. Why would I go for the community one? Because we've got to cover both areas of the question. It said the community and individuals. So the economic implications of workers doing unpaid work would be that it could take away jobs from people who want to do that work and get paid. Okay, that's an impact on the community. Potential exploitation, the individual could be forced to work 50-60 hours and never get paid, and again may hinder personal career plans. If the person has 4 years to complete their degree and they are now forced to work cleaning roads for the community, this is going to be extremely stressful for that individual. Conclusion. We're just going to balance the drawbacks and the benefits and then state our own personal viewpoint. Again, here's a cheat. You could just say it depends. If the unpaid work is 1 day a week, I'm sure an individual could survive. If the unpaid work is around 40 hours a week, then this borders on exploitation and should be definitely prohibited. There we go. Topic-specific vocabulary. Community service, volunteering, civic duty, skill acquisition, altruism, exploitation, opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is a tricky one, but it's useful. I would definitely avoid writing about it because it's a concept you need to be quite familiar with, and it could be easily overcomplicate your essay. Workforce readiness, grassroots, and empathy. There we go. Write down those terms, especially write down the ones you don't understand. Find them in context, find them in their natural habitat, and then use them. Use it or lose it, as we say. That's it from me today. I wish you some motivating IELTS study prep sessions. You can do this. You just have to keep moving forward. Plan your time, plan your work, work your plan. You will get there in the end. You managed to learn English to the point where you can understand me now. There is no reason why you cannot acquire another skill and keep moving forward. So you can get to Canada, so you can do the MA, so you could study in Scotland, in England, or in Australia, so you can get your permanent residency, so you can work in England, in London, wherever. Just one final thing. Don't lose perspective. This IELTS is just one small obstacle. Once you've completed this obstacle, you're going to be able to get a high quality world-class education. You might be able to triple your wage by working in another country. You might be able to change the story of your family for the next few generations. So it's worth it. It's worth to keep moving forward. And if you need to pass fast, then have a look at our essay correction tools. As I said before, smart students nowadays are using tools to pass the exam. And when you join our premium essay checking service, you're going to get better quality feedback, and you're also going to be invited to join our Band 9 framework course, which just speeds everything up again. So that's it. Have a beautiful day. Oh, just one last thing. This truly is the last thing. I don't advertise this, our services. I don't spend money on advertising. So I would be extremely, and I don't charge you for listening to these tutorials. So I'd be extremely grateful if you found this tutorial useful. If you find our site, IELTSpodcast.com, useful, then tell a friend about it, or give us a review on Spotify or on iTunes, whichever platform you're listening to. Give us a good fat 5-star review. That would be super. I'd really appreciate it, and it helps us immensely. So that's it. Have a beautiful day, and all the best with your IELTS preparation.
Thanks for listening to IELTSpodcast.com.